going on, everybody? Welcome to a brand new edition. This is a brand new edition, isn't it? Yes, it is. Welcome to a brand new edition of the ChrisTheWrite YouTube show. Of course, my name is Chris Stevens. If you're new to this channel, I'm a journalist, novelist, music lover, car nerd, cultural critic, all the stuff that I've mentioned before in these intros for the people who aren't new. But if you would like to subscribe, you're more than welcome to do so and tap that notification bell so you're notified of all the new things that drop on this channel periodically. I try to do 2 or 3 episodes a week. I only did one last week because life started life in a serious way. And I'll tell you more about that in a minute. But you're invited to subscribe, tap that notification bell, and just browse the channel. I mean, we got music, we got automobiles, we got sports, we got award show recaps, we have dating and sex podcasts. I mean, I have guests that come on periodically and talk about some cool stuff with me. So this show, I mean, this channel is a little bit of everything. So invite you guys to come by. We're closing in on 100 official episodes since I relaunched this thing at the beginning of 2024. Not sure what I'm going to do for the 100th. I mean, I'm still a couple of ones away. That actually might be the first episode. Will it be the first episode of 2025? I got to go back and count. But I know we're closing in on 100 official episodes. I got a couple of short, like little Vine. I mean, like TikTok size videos that I don't count as episodes. So yeah, we're closing in on 100. For those of you who have been here and continue to stay here and check out the videos, I greatly appreciate you. Don't forget to like and comment on these videos so you can, so we can get an algorithm going, the discussion can pop, and more eyes and ears can be on this channel. So I'm stalling because I didn't know what I wanted to talk to you guys about this week, or you discuss with y'all this week. But then it kind of dawned on me as we are facing probably the toughest times that we'll probably face, that we're facing in our lives, and will continue forward because of everything that's going on in the world as we speak. And I mean, we're going to have to fight anyway. We're going to have to deal with the mess that comes, but there's still something about being able to find the pockets of joy and the hobbies and enthusiasm and things that life offers. So I did want to start talking about, I started thinking about the things that I've wanted to do and that I haven't done for one reason or another. And this isn't even going to be related to anything that goes on an overnight scenario. That's a whole nother episode in itself. So if you're looking for that, just tune into the overnight scenario, which I think will probably go back up maybe Wednesday night or Thursday night. I haven't decided yet. I got to work around my schedule. But I started thinking about the things that I'm interested in and the things that I want to do more of, and how can I make time to do those things? Because if you guys are not familiar with my comings and goings, which is a lot, to be honest with you. I am a sports reporter in my full time. Like literally, I have 2 jobs that are based around that. One is my own creation, but another one is, the main one is I cover all manner of Black college sports for HBCUsports.com. Very grateful to Ken Rashad and Kendrick Marshall for bringing me on board in March of 2023. Oh, so I can tell that story now. Yeah. Okay. All right, so this just randomly popped into my head, and I wasn't going to do a journalism story because I couldn't think of any, but now I have one. Now that I think about it. But yes, I'm very grateful to have been with HBCU Sports for almost 2 years, and that came along when I was like not in dire straits, but I was in panic mode because I had given up my library job, and granted, I've told you guys before how much I hated working at the library. That was more about the patrons for the most part. And no disrespect to my manager, because she wasn't a bad person, but she always believed the customer was always right. And I've said it before, the customer in some cases, in a lot of cases, is out of their minds. So I didn't agree with that. And, that was sort of one of those things that was, sort of push and pull thing. But I don't have anything bad to say about my manager. She's a good person. And my immediate supervisor was the one that I bonded with the most because, she saw me losing the weight. And then, we started talking about dating relationships. If you remember that overnight scenario, trial run where she said I was too old for the streets. So, yeah, but I get the library job. As much as I hated it, it was a government job. I didn't get government benefits because I was a part timer, but it's next to impossible to lose a government job unless you quit. That's about the only way for the most part. And well, I quit because a friend of mine who I'm still very cool with, mind you, because unfortunately we suffered the same fate eventually. Um, she was like, "Do you need a write? Do you want a writing job?" I was like, "Sure." And then she told me what it was, and it was like I was sort of my intuition was like another PR job because full disclosure, I worked in the Delaware Technical Community College public relations department for 7 months, seven, close to 8. So that was in 2013, 2014. And that was when the bottom fell out in my life. Like, you know, the living situation was dire. I didn't have a car. And then, Andre Smith, who worked for the News Journal at the time, was like, you need to come string for us. And that literally saved my life. So I was done with PR back in 2014. 2022, my friend's like, well, you can write. It may look daunting, but I know you can do it. And she was so high up in the company that all I had to do was just interview like I had some common sense, which is not hard for me to do. So got the job, and I was a contractor at first, and then like maybe 3 months in, they were like, "Oh, do you want to come on full time?" And I was like, "Yeah," because the money was that good. And I think that's what bothers me about PR the most is that it pays more than journalism, but it's way more BS. So this goes really quickly. I mean, I got hired in March. Actually, I wasn't a full timer until September of 2022. So I got hired in March of 2022. I became a full timer September 2022. Last week of February 2023, I get axed. And of course, my friend who was high up in the company kind of helped the person who owns this company start this company. She kicked her out the door. And I was so, and I was, I mean, it was just like common sense. If the person that gets you hired is gone, then you're next on the chopping block. And she was like, don't worry about it. Just do your thing. You'll be fine. That lasted maybe 3 weeks when they had me on that stupid Zoom talking about, we're gonna go in a different direction. We're gonna let you go and blah 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 blah. Kicked me out of the kicked me out the Slack before I could even say goodbye to anybody, which I found to be weird. And I found out that that's par for the course these days. They don't even let you peace out properly anymore if you're like remote or working from home. They just say get out. And I didn't know what I was gonna do because I moved out. I moved away, got my own apartment as soon as I, got the salary. Like it was like I've got to, get back out on my own. And so I was like, okay, am I gonna be homeless again? Am I gonna have to go back to living with family? It was just like a horrible time. But I had freelance for HBCU sports for one game prior, one football game in the fall of 2022. So I reached out to Ken and I was like, Ken, do you have any room for anybody else to kind of join, on a regular basis? He was like, yeah, we got room for you. Okay. So I come on board and I've been with HBCU sports ever since. A lot of there's been a lot of good times in that job, a lot of funny times, and it's something that I love doing. I love being a reporter. I love talking to coaches and athletes. I have some really good features up. One feature I'm very proud of that didn't really take off is probably the most disappointing thing professionally for me in 2024. And I may talk about. Hey, I'll talk about that in a minute. But I just found it funny that certain jobs are just beyond me. Like I'll never work in PR again. Like twice now. I've lasted 18 months across a decade in 2 public relations jobs. And everybody's like, well, if you're a content writer, then you shouldn't have these problems. Not when people don't know they ass from a hole in the ground. That happened at Dell Tech. That happened with this other company. Only reason I'm not naming the company is because I don't remember signing anything, and I'm not trying to get sued by anybody, even though I don't think this person probably cares, but they should care, because if you run a raggedy ship, then you should be held accountable when cracks start to show in that ship. But it was funny because there was somebody at that job who I felt like was like kind of bullying me in some respects, and felt like they felt like they were better than me. At least that's what I took it as. And this person followed me on social media for a few weeks, and I was just looking at I kept looking at that notification like, you got to be kidding me. You be for real. Be for real. But I mean, it was just like, come on now. Really? You were probably the reason I got fired, and now you find me on social media. Get out of here. And this is not the same person that got me hired, by the way. Like I said, we are still cool. I want to have her come on the overnight scenario. I mean, I may just ask her because she's done a podcast with me before about dating and sex and all of that stuff. But I may ask her to come on for the overnight scenario just to rap with me a little bit about that, or just in general. I mean, why not? But so that's the story that I don't when I said before, the only way if I was choice between PR and doing anything else, I would start an OnlyFans. I meant that, because I just can't get with public relations in the way that people are doing it in 2024. And journalism to me is still, I mean, we're all on a sinking ship for the most part, because people refuse to read anymore. Like, we at HBCU Sports, we have to do 2-hour-long podcasts a week because people just don't want to go to the website and read the stories. We have to talk about the stories. And it's just like, whew, Lord, Dr. Edward Jackson was right. Shouts out to Dr. Edward Jackson, my English language. He was my American Lit professor at Delaware State University, because I was an English language and literature minor. I mean, my major was mass communications, and with mass communications, you have to have a minor. Well, I just picked the easiest thing, what I felt was easy for me, which was English language and literature, because I've always wanted to write, creatively anyway. So, Dr. Jackson, he would say it all the time in American lit class, and that Alabama accent of his: the failure of society will come because people refuse to read. And he was 100, 200, 300, 400, 500% correct. People don't read. And when you don't read, you lose brain power. And when you lose brain power, you are easily manipulated. That's why we are entering the fascist circles of hell at the beginning of 2025. But yes, just frustrated, that PR just didn't curl over with me the way journalism does. Like, I enjoy news gathering. I enjoy going to games. I enjoy, doing features and talking to coaches and talking to administrators and talking to players about things, getting their thoughts, and then transposing those thoughts, and then letting, people read them. But what good is that if people don't read? And that brings me to the story that I'm the most disappointed in. I did because I got we got an interesting email. Ken Rashad did anyway, about potential misconduct with the Virginia State women's lacrosse team, and they were a brand new program. So I reach out to this parent, and she has receipts on top of receipts on top of receipts. I mean, CVS ain't had nothing on this woman. I mean, she did her due diligence. She did her big one. So I reach out, she says there might be some other kids that want to talk, some other parents that want to talk. I must have talked to like 10 people overall, because I talked to the parents, I talked to the coaches. I didn't get a chance to talk to the coach. She wouldn't return my calls. And the athletic director, who, was part of the problem, she ended up passing away unexpectedly. So yeah. So that's been awkward. But I've talked to parents, I talked to coaches, I talked to an educational advocate. That was, some real investigative reporting that I did. I mean, I literally had to look up court records for this, and it went nowhere. Like, that story, the parents and the former players appreciated it, but nobody really paid attention. And so, that's probably the most disappointing thing professionally this year, because not that I was looking for a hit story, but I was looking for some people to understand that news is still important, that you still need to be informed on things. And it just didn't, that never took wing. And that was just, something that I found super discouraging, but that's life. I mean, not everything, not every Michael Jordan didn't make every shot. Barry Bonds didn't hit a home run every time at bat. Damn near though, once upon a time. Wayne Gretzky didn't score every goal. And some folks like, Stevie Wonder has Journey to the Secret Life of Plants, for crying out loud, in his catalog. So not everything you do is going to be perfect. Not everything you do is going to hit. Not everything you do is going to smash. But there still can be some fulfillment in that, in what you've done, and that's something that I'm trying to be mindful of. And I really wanted to talk about things that I wanted to work on, but this just turned into another Chris's True Journalism Stories. But this is how it works around here. My mind just works at random. So this might be one of those weeks where we get like 3 or 4 episodes out of me, because this one's done. I already did talk. I gave you guys a PR story. I gave you guys some thoughts on, my current job and different things of that nature. And it's a busy time for me. Like First Day Hoops Report, that's my baby. And I already have gone off the deep end. Like I've virtually cussed out the administration of a high school and the amateur sports administration here in Delaware for their disrespect of non-traditional journalists like myself. I still consider myself a writer. But what I do for First Day Hoops Report is I write, I shoot games and interview players and coaches that way. So I'm like a multimedia journalist, and some folks don't respect that. And it just really pissed me off already first week of the season, which probably is going to lead me to another episode where I talk about, serving 2 masters and when love of something is just not enough. We talk about it all day long in terms of relationships, with love not being enough. Then same thing goes for anything professional too, to be honest with you. You can love something that you do, or you can love somewhere that you work, but at the same time, there comes a point where that just ceases to be enough. Like it's not the same anymore. And I'll probably talk more about that in another episode, as this channel progresses, because again, I'm trying to keep these episodes under 20 minutes, and I'm doing good with this one. But just want to be that story just randomly popped into my head as soon as I mentioned how when I started at HBCU sports, and I thought about, oh, how did I start at HBCU sports? Oh yeah, let's talk about it. And I'm glad I did, because that's a weight off of my chest. But Snoopy, we got it. About anything from that previous job. Spoiler alert, I do not care. I do not. And I'm glad to have shared that with you all. That being said, thank you all for watching this edition of the Chris Stevens Writes YouTube show. Greatly appreciate your time. As always, contact information, once again, will be in the description below, same as the subscription button and the notification bell. Make sure you hit both of them, Jones. And don't forget to like and comment on this video so we can get a discussion going. The algorithm can pop. And once again, more eyes and ears can make this channel. So thank y'all for watching. And this probably won't be the last time this week we speak, if I can get my schedule right. Until the next time we speak, y'all be good, or be good at it.